pie and drinking beer because I am in Utah on a day called Pioneer Day. And it has something to do with pioneers, and it also has something to do with pie and beer. And I don't really know what they have to do with each other, and maybe nothing at all. I know that there are a lot of Mormons here, and I hear there are ex-Mormons here too. And that might have something to do with Pioneer Day and Pine Beer Day. The banana cream pie reminds me of the pies I would have at the church potlucks when I was a little girl. And I'm drinking a juicy IPA India Pale Ale. And I don't know if we just happened to pick the right beer with the right pie, and the fruitiness and the banana kind of go together. But this works. This works. And I still don't understand why. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about this place. So good. It really is so good. Okay, it really is so good.
This whole neighborhood has so many memories for me. I'm looking at that house and the Provo Bakery and the street that we just drove down, and on Angel's 6th birthday actually we moved over here to South Provo, and so we were here for 20 years. So my kids went to elementary school here, middle school, high school, graduated high school. Memories everywhere.
And Angel is your child.
Yeah.
You have one?
I have 4 children.
And were you already a part of the church when you married, or did he bring you into it?
No, actually I was born and raised in the church.
So you were born into the, okay, and the church is the Mormon church?
Yes.
Latter-day Saints. I don't know what it is. What is
the general public would know the church as the Mormon church.
The Mormon church,
A couple of years ago, the leader of the church asked that the members start calling the church by its official name, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like everybody you see here is Mormon. And so in a 4-block square, you can have 200 families who are all Mormon, which means they go to church together, they go to school together, they shop at the same grocery stores. It's a very insular community of people who all think the same, they act the same, the culture's the same. For me, it was everything that I ever knew. It was my reality. It was every choice I made, every friend I had, from the things I ate to what I wore, where I went to school, who I married. It was everything to us.
I mean, it sounds kind of culty. Is it culty?
To the average member, that is a repulsive thought, and they would shut it down immediately. We are absolutely not a cult. So, but nobody joins a cult, right?
Right. That's what I was thinking. I can relate to that because I grew up in the Bible Belt, and they said the same thing, it was, the way we believe is the only way. Any other way is wrong.
See, I heard that, and we were like, but we're really, we know that we're really the ones.
Really
you think you do, but we actually do.
That's what we heard. Hold on, let me show you something.
Yeah.
So is that a pride flag?
It is. In Provo, Utah.
Is that one too?
Yes.
Are they friends? Do they know each other?
I'm sure they do, because it's like this sign between people now. It's like that wink, like I wear my bracelet and I get people all the time, I like your bracelet. That's all they say. And it's like we know.
Okay, so I see emerging signs of diversity.
Yes, there is support for LGBT people, even in Provo, Utah, in spite of right-wing politics or even, church leadership. This is new. I haven't seen this before. I mean, I chose my kid over a lifelong religion, and it wasn't just a religion, it was a complete and total way of life.
So, what happened there?
A lot. Angel came out in 2015, so they were 16 years old. It was right before their junior year in high school.
Okay, and I heard you say they, and I still don't know if Angel is male or female, and so there's a story here.
Sure. So they were identified as male at birth. We named them Michael.
Okay.
Then they came out in 2015 as gay. Their pronouns were he, him, Michael. about a year ago, their identity changed a little bit, and so they identify now as non-binary trans, and their pronouns are she, they.
Okay, I don't know what non-binary means.
I didn't
I
either.
know it's a part of this, but I don't
Yes.
know really what it is.
I think it means different things to different people.
Okay.
So my oldest is also non-binary trans, and I asked them to explain it to me. And I took that definition to Angel and I said, this is what it means. And they said, no, that's not what it means.
Oh.
So it can be a very personal thing.
Oh.
I think if we were to do an umbrella, I think I don't necessarily identify as male or female, or maybe it changes day to day or whatever. I don't want to present in this way or that way.
Okay.
It might be somewhere in between. It might be all of them. So I think that's kind of what it means for Angel.
Can I ask you questions like I'm a kindergartner?
Yes, please do. I will probably respond like I'm kindergarten because I'm not that bright. I'll do my best. There's really nothing wrong with feeling uncomfortable with someone that, like, there's just something about them you're not familiar with. You're not familiar with it. Of course you're uncomfortable on some levels. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you could have been talking about my book that I wrote about growing up as the only Filipino, like, in my community, except we're talking about your community. I asked somebody yesterday what is non-binary.
Okay.
I still don't know.
No, it's a great question to ask. Okay, so like my housemate is non-binary. They don't necessarily identify with either, male or female, right? And I think honestly, if we're all really honest with ourselves, there's very few of us who fit completely in the bucket of male or female in the way that we actually interact with the world. And somebody who's non-binary is basically kind of just being honest about the fact that they don't really fit in either bucket.
Okay.
And in our language currently, we just don't have great ways to define that. Everything is male or female, a boy or girl. So if you don't really easily fall into one of those buckets and you don't want to have to lie about that, you want to just be upfront, look, I don't fit.
Yeah.
Non-binary is one of the most common current terms. We all have things that feel like us that we want to be able to do, we want to be able to express, and some of those things are connected to our genders. You know what I mean?
So if I have a friend who comes to me and says, hey, I think I'm non-binary. I'm about to go on a journey. I'm just letting you know, you're one of the first people to find out, Then
you should feel so honored. Oh my God, this friend loves you so much that they are sharing something with you that is so intensely personal and that they're probably pretty uncomfortable about. I mean, I love being transgender. I actually think it's awesome. But it is complicated to be trans or non-binary in this country, especially right now. It's a very complicated space in this state. You know what I mean? So be supportive, be kind. You know what I mean? Just be kind. The things that you're dealing with, recognize they're your things. They're not their things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in 2015, the church had a policy that redefined basically what family means if you're LGBT. And I believed everything that they ever said, ever, always. And then this policy came out, it was leaked, and I read it on Facebook, and then went to work, and I worked at BYU. Went to work that morning with this pit in my stomach, and I'm I don't know what this means, and I don't understand, and this doesn't fit with anything that I've been taught, even within the church, which I believe completely. And then Angel called me at work and said, did you read it? And I just went, oh no. This is a defining moment where I decide whether you love me and I'm safe with you, or you're gonna take the church route. And I didn't, and I recognized that. And so I just said, I just know that my heart hurts and I'm really confused and I don't know what this means. I don't know I thought there's got to be a good explanation, and I just need to get my head right so that it makes sense to me. The more I thought about it and the more I learned and the more I listened, I started to think there's a possibility. And it was a sin to even think this. It's sin to think this. There's a possibility that they got this wrong. The prophet who speaks for God, who is never
you were
wrong.
questioning the prophet because you were in that
Because
position
they're
and needed
the
to
ones
make a
who
choice.
did
The prophet
they made
did
this
that.
policy.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm how it's how could they have gotten this wrong? But I think they might have. I didn't want to lose my faith. I didn't want to lose my community, my reputation, everything that I'd ever known, including my marriage, as it turns out. That's not what I wanted. I wanted my life to make sense and to still fit in that little box that had been so comfortable my whole life. This is Encircle. So this is the place that I started volunteering at right after Angel came out. I was volunteering in the temple every week. I'm driving out of the parking lot one day and I look across the street to Encircle and I'm like, I'm in the temple when right across the street there are these youth who are struggling to just fit in their family or even be in their family, some of them have been kicked out of their families. They're marginalized and they're excluded from so much. And my kid's one of them. And I see them suffering and I'm at the temple. So that was the week I stopped. I stopped volunteering in the temple and I started adding volunteer time here at Encircle. And then things shifted even more, because then I got to hear the stories of these youth. I got to listen to them and get to know them on a human-to-human basis where I never had before. For me, it was a place of learning and a place of safety and trust. Mm-hmm. And they became my community in a way that church had never been. I thought that it did because I had nothing else to compare it to. But here's where we talked about real things. Here's where we talked about real emotions, real people, the hard things, the ugly things that we never could. Let me love you exactly as you are. So it expanded my love for my children, but then everybody else as well.
And that's the biggest kind of love. That's the truest
yes,
kind of love.
Yes, and how did I not see it? How did I not know that I wasn't really loving up to my potential, to human potential?
What a great way to say it, up to your potential.
Yeah. And now I can be better than I was yesterday because I can take what I know and actually live better, a fuller, more expanded, colorful, beautiful life. And I really attribute that to Angel and them coming out.